Account-based selling is here to stay. Whether you sell to large organizations or to small organizations, whether you're in a large company or you're in a small organization, today we're going to give you some guidance and some ideas of how you can apply account-based selling strategies that can help you really thrive. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist podcast. I'm your host, Donald C. Kelly, the Sales Evangelist. And I'm so excited for another great episode. I'm so excited to be here with you today. And on this episode, we're going to talk about account-based selling. And we're going to invite our good friend, McManamon, to come on the show. She's a VP of Sales at Crunchbase. Now, if you don't know about Crunchbase, they provide a lot of great insights when it comes towards, venture-backed companies and just insights into organizations. But they also have a sales tool, which you probably didn't know much about. But today, you're going to learn how that tool can help you as well with the strategy. But was there anything else that you specifically asked the clients that made you feel like now it's the time for us to go into this mode?
I think it was more about the information that they couldn't get from other tools, right? First and foremost, that's the funding rounds and news. It's massively valuable to sales teams, large or small, right? Depending on what they're selling. The signals of hiring and layoffs. That's another big indicator for prospecting. And then again, just the really exact or precise contact information. So I think it was a few things, but I think more so it was like, there's a need in this world for it. There's a need in this world to be better at prospecting and more focused, right? And again, I grew up in a world where it was spray and pray. It was like, you go out and go hit your quota. Didn't have a lot of tools. And didn't have a lot of strategic ways of looking at accounts and contacts. And now we're just in a different world where you can get so precise and be really, really intentional with what you're doing.
Yeah, it's like, it's just shooting in the dark. I remember back then too, it's more of like the numbers game, like how big of a net can I cast and how many people can I touch as opposed to identifying the right people to touch and, hitting them up. How many target accounts did your team focus on at a time? And that made based on how many people are on your team as well.
Yeah, so we do around 50 per person, and we are a team of about 30-ish, 35. And so I'm not so harped on the number of accounts, to be quite honest with you. I'm more about the work you're putting in with the account, Donald. Like that to me. But look, yes, a baseline of a target account list, and then let's kind of figure out the strategy, especially for my, kind of more tenured enterprise AEs. Let's figure out the strategy and how we're going to get through the door. So we know the contacts. Do we have the best messaging and the best cadence for outreach? And then what else are we doing? And granted, I'm sure sales leaders can relate to this. Like, what else are we doing? Are we using a gifting platform, right? To get more of their attention or to get kind of in the door? Are we looking at some of the, intent on our website? Like, right? Are they coming? Are they looking? Are they interested? And then to your point earlier, people typically know Crunchbase. We have a really good brand recognition, which helps for my sales team, but they don't know about our sales prospecting tool sometimes. So there's a little bit of education, and there's also a little bit of like, well, how are you doing it today? Those discovery questions, right? Of like, okay, so like talk me through your process and what are you missing? What's one thing that's really lacking there? And typically 8 out of 10 times we can help with that piece.
And I think one of the beautiful part about that too is like, it takes a lot of well, let's back up. Is this more, do you have a BDR as a part of this process as well with your AEs, or who typically like runs the place?
Yeah, so SDRs and account executives, they're both running plays for accounts. And so, we're going into kind of pairing soon, but right now they each have an account list. Okay.
So then if somebody's like trying to figure this out themselves, trying to do it internally or for their company, come towards that account-based idea, how do you keep them disciplined to focus on those accounts and not just to, frolic off and go just, hey, there's a shiny object syndrome or, squirrel, and go chase some random accounts? Like, how do you go about keeping your team on track?
Yeah, it's not super easy. I think, to be honest, right? I think it takes, it's a lot of diligent on being diligent as a leader and making sure that we're following up and holding them accountable. Again, I'm not so strict with the list. I want them to focus on that, but I also I want to give them opportunity. I don't want to restrict them. And so I look to my leaders to really go through their lists and their one-on-ones, track the progress, and then look, if they're not getting anywhere, we have to decide. You have to make the call of like, was this a good targeted account or not? And that's something that, could be a little bit of gut or a little bit of using data to say like, okay, how many times have we reached out with zero response? We need to move on. So I think, Donald, to your point, I mean, it's the forefront is account-based prospecting. We want to make sure that we are doing that. And second is we want to also make sure that we are staying active and, of course, hitting our targets. And so the managers are in charge of kind of holding them accountable.
So what would you tell a leader to do to like stay on track? I know you want the temporary, the quick reward, but stay on track. What advice would you give them?
Yeah, patience, and it's something I don't have. So I'm.
Are you from New York?
I'm New York. Yeah, absolutely, true. But I'm working on it. I'm getting better. But so number one is that, and number two is honestly start to look at the potential life cycle or life of a client when you get one of them, when you close one of those deals, because I feel like there's higher value, right? The customer acquisition costs and like how long they're staying on with you, and are they renewing? Are they upselling? I tend to see that they're again stronger there. So a little bit of patience, a little bit like try some new things, right? You don't have to stay in it for a few months. I've tried ABM or, account-based selling, account-based marketing. At my previous position, it took a while to get it right. It wasn't a set and fixed and ready to go. It was a little bit of tweaking. You want to have a good partnership with marketing. They want to understand, obviously, what we're doing, how we're reaching out, and we want to understand how they can help, if anything, right? And that's a great collaboration. So I think patience, just looking at kind of that value of the customers you are able to bring in from that, and then making sure you're working strongly with marketing.
I mean, go down that path for a little bit there. What are some of the mistakes that you saw? Like what you mentioned, you guys had to do some tweaking in your previous role. What are some of the things that we should be aware of for those roadblocks that could become an issue for first time?
We weren't using Crunchbase. So, and I'm not saying that just because I'm tooting my own horn here, but we weren't surrounding the sale. So we were probably reaching out to one or two people instead of the 4 or 5 contacts that could have helped us.
If folks want to get a chance to check out Crunchbase and to learn about you guys' solution, some of the things that you guys have, what's the best way for them to go about doing so?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, come to the website, check it out. There's some great information, but sales@crunchbase.com. We're happy to help and kind of walk you through our tool and see if it's a good fit for you.
I love it. Listen, that was Ange McManamon. If you want to go ahead and connect with her, you can find information in the show notes. I want to tell you, thank you so much, Ange, for coming on the show. If you haven't checked out Crunchbase and their amazing tools, go ahead and do so. Tell Ange that you heard about her and that awesome prospecting tool here on the Sales Evangelist podcast. As always, go and see how you go apply these things and improve your account-based selling, but most importantly, raise your level of thinking and do big things. Thanks so much for watching.